I didn't even realize my fingers were still wrapped around the flowers when she pressed the envelope into my hand. Like my husband had just been buried. The dirt wasn't even settled yet. People were still standing around pretending to whisper, pretending not to stare. And she just slipped it into my palm like it was nothing. "Take it," she said, cool as ice. "Clinic's on Pine. They'll handle it. No drama." For a second, I thought I heard her wrong. Like my brain just refused to process what she was actually saying. My hand moved to my stomach before I could stop it. 5 months. 5 whole months of carrying his child. Our child. "I can't," my voice cracked, dry and weak. "This is David's baby." She didn't even blink. "It was David's baby," she corrected, sharp and cold. "He's gone. You're barely keeping your own head above water. Don't be stupid, Claire." Don't be stupid. Yeah, that's what she called it. Choosing my baby over her money. Behind her, Lily stood there, small, silent, clutching that old stuffed bunny like it was her lifeline. 6 years old, wearing black, eyes wide like she already knew something wasn't right. "Grandma, why are you giving Mommy money?" That word, Mommy, hit me straight in the chest. I straightened up, wiped my face, and said the only thing that made sense. "I'm taking her home." Margaret laughed. Not a normal laugh. Nah, the kind that cuts through people, the kind that makes strangers look over. "Home?" she said, like I'd just told a joke. "Sweetheart, that house isn't yours." And just like that, everything shifted. She started talking about loans, paperwork, ownership, and I swear it felt like the ground under me was sliding away piece by piece. "That house is in my name," she said. "Always has been." No, that wasn't right. David promised me it was ours. But then she hit me with the part that actually broke me. "I've already packed Lily's things," she said casually. "She's coming with me tonight." I felt like the air got sucked out of my lungs. "You can't." She cut in. "I can. She's my blood. You're nothing on paper." Nothing. Just like that. 3 years of raising that little girl. Bedtime stories, scraped knees, first day of school tears. Gone. Reduced to nothing. That night, the snow started falling hard, like the sky was trying to bury everything all over again. When I pulled up to the house, there was already a car in the driveway. Her people, of course. And Lily, my baby girl, was already in the back seat, her face pressed against the window. "Mommy." I couldn't hear her, but I saw it, and that was worse. I ran, grabbed the door handle. Locked. Margaret rolled the window down just enough to talk. "Don't make a scene," she said. "It's not a good look, especially for someone in your condition." My condition? Like my baby was a problem. "She's my daughter," I snapped. "I suggest you get a lawyer," she replied, completely unbothered. "And start packing. You've got until Sunday." And then they drove off. Just like that. Lily's hand stayed on the glass until the car disappeared, and I just stood there, frozen. Empty driveway, empty arms, empty everything. Except a tiny movement right under my ribs. I froze again. Then it happened again. A kick. Soft, but real. And suddenly I wasn't empty anymore. That night, I sat on the floor of the house that apparently wasn't mine, still in my funeral clothes, and cried until my chest hurt. No sleep, no food, just pain. But somewhere in the middle of that breakdown, something inside me shifted, because crying wasn't fixing anything. So I got up, and I started digging. Drawers, files, cabinets, anything that could prove I wasn't crazy, that I actually had a place here. Hours passed. Nothing. Until I pulled out one of David's desk drawers, and it felt heavier than it should have. That's when I noticed something. A false bottom. My hands started shaking as I pried it open. Inside, a phone. Not his regular one. A cheap black burner, still charged. And next to it, a card. No logo, no company, just a name written like it mattered. If anything happens, trust him. My heart started racing, because suddenly nothing felt normal anymore. David's trip, the crash, the closed casket, all of it. Something wasn't adding up. I sat there on the floor holding that phone like it might explode, and for the first time since the funeral, I didn't just feel grief. I felt something else, something sharp, something awake, like instinct. And deep down, I knew this wasn't over. I didn't call the number that night. Not because I didn't want answers, but because I was scared of what those answers might do to what little I had left of reality. So I shoved the burner phone and that sketchy little card into my bag, turned off the lights, and lay in bed staring at the ceiling like it might explain my life to me. It didn't. Morning came anyway. Cold. Gray. Unforgiving. Just like everything else. I grabbed my phone and did the one thing people always say to do when life goes sideways. Called a lawyer. 3 numbers. First one, booked out for weeks. Second, same story. Third, finally someone said, "Come in today." Her name was Patricia. Sharp eyes, no nonsense. The kind of woman who doesn't sugarcoat things, and honestly, I needed that. I told her everything, from the cemetery to the house to Lily being taken like she was property. She didn't interrupt once, just wrote things down, nodding slowly. When I finished, she leaned back and hit me with the truth. If the house is legally in your mother-in-law's name, she can make you leave. That one stung. Hard. And the car? Same deal. I swallowed, my throat dry. But I'm carrying his child. She shook her head gently. That doesn't change property rights. It felt like someone kept closing doors in my face one by one. But then she said Lily's name. That's where things get different. I looked up fast. You've been raising her for years. That matters. You can fight for custody. Fight. Yeah, that word again. Only problem, fights cost money, time, energy. And Margaret? She had all 3. Still, it was something, a crack in the wall. Then Patricia asked something I hadn't even thought about. Life insurance, assets, who got them? I blinked. I assumed me. Her expression changed slightly. You need to check that immediately. That feeling came back again, that weird, cold feeling in my gut, like something bigger was moving behind the scenes. I left her office with more questions than answers, and no car. Yeah, that was gone too, repossessed. Not mine either. At that point, I almost laughed. Like, what else? Take my shoes too? So I took the bus. Because when your life falls apart, the world doesn't stop, you still gotta move. On that ride, I called David's workplace. 40 minutes on hold. 40 minutes of staring out a foggy window thinking about everything I'd lost. Then finally someone picked up. Her voice was polite, careful. "Mrs. Harrison, there's been some complexity with your husband's file." Complexity? Yeah, that's never good. What kind of complexity? A pause. The beneficiary designation is under review. My grip tightened on the phone. Review by who? I'm not authorized to say. Of course you're not. I hung up slowly and just sat there. Because now it wasn't just about losing things. It felt like something was being taken, quietly, strategically. That's when I reached into my bag and pulled out the card again. That meme, that one line. If anything happens, trust him. I stared at it for a long moment. Then I dialed. 3 rings. Cascade Women's Health, how can I help you? I swallowed. I need to see Dr. Reed. My name is Clare Harrison. Silence. Just for a second, but enough to notice. Then her tone shifted. Dr. Reed has an opening tomorrow at 9. Like she already knew I'd call. Like I was expected. Okay, I said quietly. We'll see you then. That night, I barely slept. Not from crying this time, from thinking. Everything felt off. Like I'd been living in a version of my life that wasn't real. Next morning, I showed up early. The clinic looked normal. Too normal. Clean. Quiet. Safe. But something in the air felt different. Like the kind of quiet before a storm. When he walked in, I knew immediately. Not because I'd met him before, but because of the way he looked at me. Not like a stranger, like someone who already knew my story. He closed the door behind him, locked it. Yeah, that didn't exactly calm me down. Mrs. Harrison, you're safe here. Safe. Funny word. Can we check the baby first? He asked. I nodded, because honestly, that was the only thing keeping me grounded. The gel was cold against my skin. The machine hummed. And then, that sound. Fast, strong, my baby's heartbeat. I broke. Right there. All the fear, the stress, the loss, it came pouring out. But he didn't rush me, just handed me tissues, waited. Then he said something that changed everything. Your baby's healthy. I nodded, wiping my face. A boy, he added softly. A boy. David's son. I smiled through tears, but it didn't last. Because then his tone shifted. Serious. Claire, I need you to listen carefully. Something in my chest tightened. Because deep down, I already knew this wasn't going to be simple. I was close to your husband, he said, for years. Okay. My husband is dead, I replied quietly. He looked me straight in the eyes. No. One word. That's all it took. The room spun, like my brain just short-circuited. What? Your husband is alive. And just like that, everything I thought I knew, gone, shattered, rewritten. And I realized something in that moment. I hadn't just lost my husband. I'd been pulled into something way bigger than grief, something dangerous, something real. And whether I liked it or not, I was already in it. I didn't sleep that night, not even a second. The cabin was quiet, too quiet. The kind of silence that presses against your ears until your own heartbeat sounds loud enough to scare you. I kept staring at the ceiling, replaying everything like some messed up movie I couldn't pause. David alive, Margaret a criminal, Lily alone in that house. Yeah, no way I was just gonna sit there and wait 48 hours. Nah, not happening. By morning, I already knew. I was going back. Hannah tried to talk me out of it while pouring coffee like her hands weren't shaking too. Claire, please, just give them a little more time. I shook my head, already pulling on my coat. Time's a luxury Lily doesn't have right now. And honestly, neither did I. We drove back towards Seattle with the sky still gray and heavy, like it hadn't decided whether to snow again or just break completely. My stomach twisted the whole ride, but every time fear tried to creep in, the baby kicked. Like, hey, I'm still here, don't fold now. That tiny little nudge, it grounded me. By the time we reached Patricia's office, I wasn't shaking anymore. I was locked in, focused, done being the woman people pushed around. When I told Patricia everything, I expected disbelief. Instead, she leaned back slowly and said, "Well, damn." Then she grabbed her phone. That's when things started moving fast. One call turned into three. Three turned into five, and suddenly I wasn't just some grieving widow. I was part of something bigger, something serious. By evening, I was sitting in a police cruiser, hands clenched in my lap, staring at Margaret's house like it was a battlefield. Officer Chen glanced at me. "You ready?" I swallowed hard. "No, but I'm going anyway." She gave a small nod. Respect, not pity. That mattered more than I expected. When we pulled up, the house looked exactly the same. Same warm lights, same picture-perfect porch, like nothing inside it was rotten. But I knew better now. I walked up those steps feeling like every memory I had in that place was watching me. The laughter, the dinners, the quiet nights with Lily falling asleep on my shoulder, all of it. And then I rang the bell. Margaret opened the door looking polished, calm, like she hadn't just wrecked my entire life. That smile dropped real quick when she saw the uniform. "Claire," she said, voice tight, "what is this?" Before I could answer, Officer Chen stepped in smooth and professional. And just like that, Margaret lost control of the room. It was subtle, but I saw it. That tiny flicker in her eyes. Fear. Then, "Mommy!" I didn't even think. I dropped to my knees as Lily ran straight into me, wrapping her arms around me so tight it almost hurt. God, I didn't realize how much I needed that until it happened. She smelled of her strawberry shampoo. Her little hands were cold, and she was shaking. "I thought you left me," she whispered. That broke something in me. "I would never do that. I promise. You hear me? I got you. I always got you." Behind us, Margaret kept talking, sharp, defensive, trying to spin the situation. But it didn't matter anymore, because that right then, the front door opened again, and the air changed. 2 federal agents walked in like they owned the place, calm, controlled, no rush. That's when I knew it was over for her. They started asking questions, real questions, names, money trails, documents. Margaret tried to hold it together, but you could see it slipping, piece by piece. Then she looked at me, and I saw it. Not anger, not arrogance, just realization. Like she finally understood she'd lost. "I know he's alive," I said quietly. That was it. That was the moment. Her face went completely pale, and just like that, the game ended. They took her out of that house in silence. No drama, no yelling, just handcuffs and consequences. And me? I stayed on that floor holding Lily like she was the only thing keeping me standing. Because, honestly, she was. That night, we stayed at Patricia's place. Lily curled up next to me like she used to, her head tucked under my chin, one hand resting on my stomach. "Is the baby real?" she mumbled, half asleep. I smiled through tears. "Yeah, baby, he's real." She paused, then said, "Good, we need backup." I actually laughed, like a real laugh, first one in weeks. And right then, I felt it, that shift. Not survival anymore, strength. A week later, he came back. No dramatic music, no big movie moment, just a quiet knock on the door. I opened it, and there he was, alive. Thinner, tired, a little broken around the edges, but alive. For a second, I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't even process it. And then he dropped to his knees, right there on the porch, like he couldn't carry the weight anymore. "I'm sorry," he said, over and over. And I won't lie to you, I didn't run into his arms. I didn't forgive him on the spot. Because love doesn't erase pain like that. But I also didn't close the door, because some things you rebuild. Slowly, carefully, brick by brick. The months after that weren't easy. Therapy, long talks, hard truths. There were days I wanted to scream at him, days I didn't even want to look at him. But he stayed. He listened. He didn't run. And that mattered. The case against Margaret? Yeah, it blew wide open. Turns out she wasn't just shady, she was deep in it. Money laundering, fraud, cover-ups, the kind of stuff that ruins lives without anyone even noticing until it's too late. Except this time, it wasn't too late. She got 11 years. No bail, no fancy exit, just consequences. The house? Gone. Sold. And honestly, good riddance. We moved into something smaller. Nothing fancy, a little place with creaky floors and a tree out front. But it was ours. Both our names. No secrets, no lies, just ours. Then April came, and with it, him. Benjamin. 8 pounds of pure attitude and lungs strong enough to wake the whole hospital. David cut the cord with shaking hands. Lily stood beside me, holding a stuffed giraffe like she was guarding the whole operation. And when she finally held her baby brother, she looked at me dead serious and said, "He's on the team now." Yeah, that right there, that was everything. So, if you're listening to this, maybe you've been that person standing in the cold, holding something that feels like the end. Maybe you've had someone try to take everything from you and call it what's best. Maybe you've been told you're not enough, not strong enough, not important enough. Let me tell you something real quick. That's a lie, a loud one. Because when it comes down to it, when everything's stripped away, when you've got nothing left but love and instinct, that's when you find out who you really are. I thought I was someone life just happened to. Turns out, I was someone who fought back. And yeah, I lost things along the way. Trust, peace, time I'll never get back. But I gained something bigger. My family, my voice, my place in this world. And nobody gets to take that from me again. Some people destroy themselves trying to control everything. And some people, they rise when everything tries to bury them. I know which one I am now. And if you're still here, still breathing, still holding on, yeah, you've got that same fire in you too.